YouTube channel World of History. Today we shall discuss about the terrorism, its types, its infrastructure, and its how spread in the world worldwide. Before going deep down, let me state what the definition of the terrorism is. The unlawful use of force or violence against person or property to intimidate or coerce a government, the civilian population, or any segment, therefore in furtherance of the political or social objectives. It is intended to coerce or intimidate government or societies. Moving on next, we shall come to know terrorism is often constructed as a well thought out extreme from the violence of perceived injustice. The after effects of terrorism are usually reported without understanding the underlying physiological and social determinants of the terrorist act. Since 9/11 incident in America, Pakistan has been at the epicenter of both terrorism and the war against it, which is not true. This special war of the terrorism has been started in Pakistan, as foreign countries say. Now we shall discuss about the effect of terrorism. Later we shall discuss about the cause of the terrorism, but first we shall come to know about the effect of terrorism. Terrorism has had an enormous burden on the South Asian countries throughout the adverse impact on the social, economical, political, physical infrastructure. Pakistan has suffered due to the terrorism. Surprisingly, Pakistan is portrayed as being on the front line in the international war against terrorism and at the same time has been wrongly labeled as a sponsor of the international terrorism. Terrorism in Pakistan is a multidimensional phenomenon, and among many precipitating factors, the psychological factor play an important role, and the, and the poverty plays an important role in the fact of the terrorism. Now we shall discuss about the historical development in TS. Pakistan is a Muslim majority nation in the South Asia, with India to its east, Iran and Afghanistan to its west. China was landlocked Asian country to its north, and the Arabian Sea to its south. Pakistan gained independence from the British colonial rule in 1947 and thus part named the Nuclear Club. The Soviet-Afghan War, which began in 1979, provided a breeding ground of the terrorism in the region. A fundamental change was witnessed that altered that very character to the existing Pakistani societies. Withdrawal of the society reveals Arvind's weaponization, power play Pakistan also called the Kalashnikov culture and the Talibanistan. Pakistan's social landscape for most of the part plugging with the many facets of the war of the terrorism. Now we shall discuss about the cause of the terrorism, in which psychological influence are on the top. The socio-economical diversity combined with the political challenges were bound to have the determinative impact on the physique of the average Pakistani. A terrorist adopts a dichotomous way of identifying their victims, the black and white true, the I am gold, you are evil, with no intermediate shades of the gray. The thinking lives leaves no doubt in their minds. They find it easier to kill their opponents with little or no sense of remorse to guilt. The unmanned access region of Pakistan, the infuriated people, leading them to take up arms against the perceived aggressors. The triggering of the relatives to decrease the engage in such activities is the culture of the revenge in Pakistan, of which unfortunately now we shall discuss the contribution of the religious school. In West, the Madaris have gained a reputation of being sinister influence on young, impressionable Muslims. These institutions are not completely regulated and can vary from a single room to the students. Now we shall talk about the link between the terrorism and mental disorder. When with both mental disorder and terrorism Pakistan being highly prevalent, it would be a fair assumption that the two have an equal causal relationship. Now we'll talk about the conclusion. By understanding, appreciating, addressing the psychological factor contributing to terrorism in Pakistan, one may find the lasting solution to the fallout in Pakistan war against the terror. This leads to loss of the innocent human lives, compound of the deep psychological scars of the survivors. Thank you to stay with us. Meet in our next lecture. Allah Hafiz.